Hello, welcome to Anime Territory. I'm your host this week, Johnny Ruhal. With me, as always, is my co-host, Benjamin Worm-Type Shabbing.
Alright.
Could have been worse.
Would I be your best friend even if I was a worm?
Okay. Do you want to start with this conversation?
Sure.
What exactly is the scenario? Is the scenario that you have been magically transformed into a worm?
Yes.
Okay. Second question. Is this like sandworm maker Dune sort of thing? Makers are what they call the sandworms in Dune.
Oh, okay.
Or are you like normal earthworm?
I would guess normal earthworm because we're not on Arrakis.
I would definitely take care of you, but I feel like the podcast would stop.
Oh, okay. You wouldn't find a replacement?
Probably not.
Okay.
I don't think I would know anybody that would necessarily want to do this with me.
It's true.
I mean, I'm sure there are people that would want to be guests or whatever, but I don't think I could get anybody to commit quite so well. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe somebody comes along and just as passionate with them, then yeah.
I don't know. I think Brock's trying to take my spot.
No, I don't think so.
Nah, I don't think so either.
I don't think he might be shooting for it, but I don't think he's gonna hit it. I'd like to have him on again though. So, but what for?
I don't know.
Anyway, just gonna throw some other scenarios out there. You become a sandworm. Podcast probably will continue.
Okay.
And I don't need to like take care of you because you'll take care of yourself. In fact, you'll probably have to take care of me at that point if you're becoming a sandworm. You'll have to tell the other sandworms I'm cool.
Okay. Am I a sandworm in our world?
Yeah.
Do I have to live in sand?
I'm sure you will convert.
We are not in a sandy environment.
I'm sure you will convert the environment you're in to sand with enough digging.
Ooh, people would hate me.
I'll protect you.
Okay.
For as long as I can. They'll have to kill me first before they kill you.
Move to Arizona or something.
Well, then we'll have to like do this over Skype or something.
Okay.
People use Skype these days, right? It didn't completely shoot the shit whenever the pandemic happened and Zoom completely took over.
Didn't one of those just shut down?
I don't know.
I think one of those companies just shut down.
I don't
remember which
one.
It
was Zoom. I think people are still using that.
Okay. It might have been Skype then.
It wasn't Teams, because I use Teams for work.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, another scenario. You were a worm all along? Sorry, you would not be my best friend.
Because of the lying or the worm part?
No. Because if you were a worm all along, I would not have met you.
Oh, okay. I don't think that's how that works, but okay.
Well, I think that's why I questioned if the scenario was like, would we be best friends if I was born as a worm? No. I'm sorry. The answer there is no. I wouldn't know you. I don't socialize with worms. Did I say I was
born a worm or if I was a worm?
No, I'm talking about the question in general.
Oh, okay.
You said if I was a worm, would we still be best friends? I'm like, well, what do you mean by that?
Okay.
Do you mean like if you were born a worm, would we be best friends?
Gotcha.
The answer is no. I don't socialize with worms.
That's fine.
Were you somehow a worm piloting a flesh mech? Then probably we'd still be friends. Why did you choose that flesh mech?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Were you were a person and you were magically transformed into worms? I feel like the friendship wouldn't be the same, but I'd make sure you got taken care of.
Okay. You just like put me in a jar and give me like an apple core every so often?
Probably. What do you want? If I turn you into a worm, what do you want? Now I'm the one turning you into a worm.
I don't know what worms eat. I would guess just like apples and peaches, anything.
I'll Google it. How's that sound? I'll Google
that's
it.
That's fine.
I mean, would you want to be free,
I think I'd just eat garbage.
Would you want to like be safe, but in like a terrarium, or would you want to be free?
No, I don't want to be outside. Birds will get me.
Okay. All right. Pidgeys will get you?
Yeah.
I'm assuming if you get turned into a worm, then Pokemon are around. So.
Okay.
That would happen in the Pokemon universe. Someone gets turned into a Pokemon. I'm sure.
Well, yeah, Bill did.
Oh, yeah. He got turned into a Clefairy. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That was 5 minutes of Worm Talk. Thank you for tuning into Worm Talk, our new show within a show, Worm Talk.
Put that down. So what are we talking about today?
Sorry, I'm just thinking that if Worm Talk was a show, I would call you Earthworm Ben.
Okay.
After Earthworm Jim.
Oh, it's in the other notebook. I remember that for our network.
Worm Talk?
Yeah.
Worm Talk with Earthworm Ben.
Okay.
I'd still be not a worm in this show. We're talking about the show Mecha Ude, the anime. Imagine that. We're an anime podcast. What's your spoiler-free thoughts and rating for Mecha Ude?
I enjoyed it. I really liked the action. The story isn't exactly there, but there's parts that I liked. So overall, I had a good time. 7.
Okay. I would say the action was good at points and kind of cheap at other points, which is fine. I mean, this started as like a Kickstarter where like one person wanted to do all the animation for it, but now has like a studio behind it. So I think the character design is pretty solid. I think the concept is fun. I think the show was fun. Plot, like you said, is kind of basic.
Yeah.
There's one twist where I'm just like, okay, all right.
Let's talk about that. It's the same twist I'm thinking of. I'm like, okay.
No. Sorry. You're taking something that I'm considering 2 twists.
Oh, okay.
And you're putting it together into one twist, I'm sure. And
okay.
I'm like, yeah, that one's whatever. But the twist I'm talking about is just sort of a piece of this bigger twist, and I thought that was cool. I'll get to it in spoilers.
Okay.
But if I had to give it a whole number, I would say 7. But I think I would say 6.7 if I'm allowed to give decimals.
Okay. I think that's rating on my anime list. It's like 6.7.
I feel like... Well, now we'll get into spoilers here. So, official spoiler warning. I feel like the last episode could have been less punchy, talky, and more... I don't know. They could have just wrapped that up a little bit quicker.
Yeah. I think the ending does suffer a little bit. Because it is just a little too punchy and talky.
Yeah.
I wanted a band.
Okay. We just have to say, in the credits for the last episode, we see some like flashes of what the characters are doing. And some of the characters are just in a band for whatever reason. So... You wanted to see the formation of that. You wanted the second half of the show to be the formation of those characters making a band. Is what it sounds like. Because that's what we would need. We would
need more episode about the band and its formation.
Yeah, so that's the thing is I would have liked a little bit more epilogue. I always like a nice epilogue where it's like, hey, here's all the happy endings. I like that. Give me the happy endings.
Yeah.
Whereas this one's sort of like, okay...
It ends and they're just like...
Mecha Ude combat continues, but not necessarily against any of our beloved characters. Because that's the thing about this show, is almost every antagonist gets redeemed. Partially.
Yeah, basically.
I mean, like, the worm-type Mecha Ude, Amaryllis, I want to say, is sort of still, like, a bad guy. But... I don't know. I feel like even she had her moments of like, yeah, she's been working. She wasn't the real bad guy this whole time. But
I think she was the one who was like purely evil, though.
Yes.
I don't think she has a redemption.
Correct. But maybe a little bit of a softening.
I just feel like every villain we get, it turns out, it's actually they were controlled by one of the bad mechas.
Yeah. And then one of the bad Mecha Udes is just like, okay... now that we've had our punchy, talky, I guess I'll side with you on this. So let's talk about like the twist or whatever.
Okay.
The twist that you're thinking of, I'm assuming, is that the leader of the good guys organization was actually the bad guy, and he was orchestrating both sides. That's the twist you're talking about.
Not necessarily that. Is that he was Yakuma, the guy who died 100 years ago.
See, I like the part where it's just like, I like the part of the twist where he was a corpse. It's not like he's been alive this whole time.
Okay.
It's like, no, I've been piloting a corpse.
Okay.
That's the part that I thought was, like, bold.
Okay. I would guess you're right. My initial thought was, oh, they just had this guy be the bad guy. But then it's revealed, oh, actually he's being controlled for this whole time. I'm like, okay, that's better.
And it's not even just that he's being controlled. It's that it's just, like, I don't know. I don't want to say Frankenstein, but it's sort of just a corpse reanimating.
Yeah. I think he's added some like mechanical bits and stuff.
Yeah, as the corpse deteriorates, as corpses do.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, if it was like, oh, the bad guy is Yakuma, and he's disillusioned with humanity, and he's joined up with Fist, well, then that's played, whatever. That wouldn't feel right to the characterization we got of Yakuma. But the fact that he was just like, oh yeah, he's dead.
Mm-hmm.
This is just his body. That's the part that I liked.
Yeah, that does make it better.
Let's see. So I had a few things I wanted to talk about here.
Okay.
As opposed to like talking about the plot of the show, the premise. I guess we'll give the premise of the show. A dude hears somebody calling out for help. Turns out it's an alien from another dimension, mechanical arm that can bond with human. Supposedly it has to be human skin, but for whatever reason, the arm is able to bond with the dude's hoodie, which they never explain.
No.
I wrote that down as a note. They never explain why he's able to do that. My thought process would be like, I don't know. There's like
just high
his
levels
skin cells are like dead skin cells got rubbed off on it or something, and he bonded to that, or it might be sort of explained by the way that he can.
It might be Alma's ability.
Yeah,
where like he can bond with an organic material or something.
Or it's not necessarily he can bond. It's that he doesn't need a bond to move around in this world.
Okay.
So maybe it's part of that, but either way, they never really explain it. Anyway, this mechanical arm is like, thank you. I don't remember who I am, but when I'm near you, I can be powerful. And there's two factions. There's this like big corporation that has a lot of ties to the local government, and
I think they just like built the whole city, so they basically own it all.
Yeah, including the police.
Yes,
it's security forces or what have you.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the rebel faction, and our other main hero. So the main guy's name is Hikaru. The arm's name is Alma. And our other main hero is a girl named Aki, who's got 2 mechanical arms. Why does she have 2? Nobody else has 2, except for that one guy who had 3 to 4. But either way, they are banding up. They're like, okay, well, I'll side with you guys because you're not actively trying to kill me, despite Aki threatening me.
Yeah,
I realize now that she's just.
Bad guys are like, you're useless, we'll kill you. They're just like, you're useless, but
we like Alma. He's my little brother. Because we're led by this guy named Algis, and he's got Alma's brother, Fist, which is the name. I almost went with Fist for your nickname. Benjamin Fist Shabbing. Would that be a cool nickname?
Nah. Almost like Worm type.
I could have gone with Trigger Arm, because that's what Alma is referred to as, the Trigger Arm. He's got some sort of special ability that's been sealed away along with his memories that will let them reach something, which will theoretically grant ultimate power.
Spoilers, you can just say what he opens.
I know. Okay. I'm more saying it as it's not exactly clear.
Okay.
What Ordella. Yeah, what Ordella's purpose is. They're like, because some people are like, it's going to be a gateway to the other world.
Well, they say he's like the father of the arms or something.
Yeah, they're looking for him in order to like restore life to their planet or something. But their dying planet. But other people think no, he's a gateway to that planet, and they're like, no, what? No, we didn't build a gateway. It was to get like his power or whatever, which. I did want to go through and talk about. Well, let's just kind of compare some of this ending, not exactly the last episode, but I want to compare the ending of this show to when we go into the Grail in Fate Zero, or when we go into instrumentality in Neon Genesis Evangelion, that part where it's just like, hey, we're going to have this, or the end of the disappearance of Haruhi Suzumiya, where we just sort of have like here's this mental realm.
I don't know if I've ever seen that ending of that show.
What?
Oh, into the disappearance of which show?
The disappearance of Haruhi Suzumiya, the movie.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Where they're like, where Kyon is going like, he's like talking to himself, and he's just imagining like this as the conversation's going on. All these scenarios are playing out in his head. Do you not know what I'm talking about?
Nope.
It's a trope in
Okay.
anime.
Okay.
Neon Genesis Evangelion does this, where they go into instrumentality, and it's just like Shinji's thoughts, and they give rise to like, you know, like, okay, well, what would the world be like if this happened? Or, you know, and he's like having these conversations with himself, and seemingly like a void that can then be filled with what he's thinking about.
Oh, okay, I gotcha.
Or in Fate Zero, whenever they're in the Grail, and the Grail is like presenting Kiritsugu with how you would go about saving the world.
Yeah.
These things aren't literally happening,
Yeah.
but the characters are experiencing them in some sort of like mental world.
Gotcha.
This,
I just forgot about that part in this show for a sec. But yeah.
because it's not the last episode. Yeah. It's towards the end there that they have something like that. And I just feel it feels like such a cop-out to me.
Mm-hmm.
And this is part of why I don't think the ending quite works, too. Is just like, what is the reason for this? Because there's a reason in Fate Zero. The Grail gets presented as this wish...
Omnipotent wish. It can do whatever you want it to do.
But except it can't.
Except it can't.
And, I don't know. There's enough, like, lore, I feel like, built into it. Enough goodwill from the show where you're just like, yeah, magic is fucking weird. So, like, when the Grail starts acting up, sure, the Grail sends us into some sort of mental landscape. That's not any weirder than the Grail is formed from a cup made out of the homunculus's body, which is filled with, like, okay, you've earned it. Ava, I feel like, earns it. They're like, yeah, there's these aliens, and they're fucking weird, and Third Impact has happened where these two alien life forms that should never have met, and now we're in this mental landscape here. I get it. We'll clap and say congratulations to Shinji, congratulations to Ava. You pulled it off. You're able to do it, sort of. I don't think we would have clapped. I don't think people were clapping when the show first came out, but you did. Okay. We're clapping when we watch Into Ava.
I don't know. I kind of like the ending of that. It's like, this is weird. I like it.
I like it too, but if it was the only ending that we got, true. I don't think I would. I don't think I'd feel the same.
That is true.
Because I think it's just jarring going into it. Is the thing. Which again, yeah, like I said, you have to kind of earn it, and I think Anno earns it in End of Ava, and not so much in the show. Gotcha. Despite me actually liking those 2 episodes of the show. So I just, disappearance of Haruhi Suzumiya. Again, that happens when Kyon's debating about whether or not he should go back to the world filled with magic and whimsy, or if he should stay in the world that Yuki's created. And he's just having this conflicting thoughts of like confronting his own lies to himself about how he's fed up with it. And it's like, no, man, you like it. That one I feel like doesn't earn it quite so much, other than whatever, it's Haruhi, weird things can happen, and I'm sure it's just a visual representation of this conversation he's having in his head, as opposed to this is something that's actually happening to these characters. But yeah, I don't know. Disappearance has a lot of goodwill for me because that movie rules.
Yeah. Does it hurt that in Mecha Ude it's not visually interesting? That it's just like a white space, basically?
Yes.
Okay.
I also don't like that they're just straight up able to revive him. Like, he's straight up dead. And it's like, we have enough willpower built up here that we're going to straight up bring him back to life.
And that's just kind of an issue with their magic system. Is like, oh yeah, they're just giving him arbitrium, which is like...
it's arbitrary.
It's arbitrary.
So I feel like that would have been better if they were like, setting it up, and then he flatlines as they're pulling the arbitrary, and then like he's able to be resuscitated because you can come back from flatlining, but he's been dead for too long.
Do you think it would have been better if somebody made a sacrifice? Do you think it would have been earned that way?
I think
like if June had to sacrifice himself.
If he had to sacrifice himself, which they were, they definitely. Here's the
They're
problem.
They're kind of teasing that.
They did pull he sacrificed himself, but then they pulled the ripcord on it. Yeah. They're like, yeah, I gave him my guy, and now I'm gonna die from this disease. And they're just like, nah, it's okay. Like, I guess Fist or whatever will bond with you. And it's like, we'll take away your sacrifice. So they both get to play the sacrifice card and get to keep the character, which feels a little cheap.
Yeah.
So. Again, the ending is sort of the worst part of this show. But I like the character designs.
I like that fight scene, though. The fight scene was cool visually.
It was okay visually.
I liked it.
It's a little punchy.
I just like the design of the characters.
Yeah. Well, because they got like the jetpacks. And yeah. It's a cool
he's
design.
got a giant arm and like a glowing eye. That's kind of cool. He looks cool.
Yes. I won't deny that.
I like it when like Alma punches a guy and then he comes in and like connects with him and punches him harder.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was,
It does it, like, twice, but
Yeah. Well, they, like, throw the fist.
Yeah.
And then he, like, runs up and is able to, like, reconnect and get some extra oomph into the thrown fist. Yeah. Yeah, that's fun stuff.
Yeah, I just thought that was cool.
I won't deny that this show has some rule of cool going on for it, which is fine. I like the character dynamics. I like the character designs. There's several characters where I'm just like, I like this character's energy. Twos has got a good energy. Aki has got a good energy. Trying to think, there are some other characters that I liked.
Sakuga is the Pokemon villain.
Yes, we both independently thought that guy looks like he's a villain in a Pokemon. I thought he looked like a villain from Pokemon Horizons. I think he looks like Sungwon's character in Pokemon Horizons. Okay. I'll go ahead and pull him up. But yeah, we both and you thought he looked like one of the sages from Black and White.
Yeah, you're probably more right. They didn't play a part in the Gen 9 game though, right? Something different?
Yeah,
I didn't think so.
The Explorers were not in Gen 9, so...
but yeah, there's Massacre Girl, who's pretty cool. There's Old Guy.
Massacre Girl is like the gothic Lolita.
Yeah.
The old dude... I thought he looked sort of like this character here. Sidian.
A little bit.
I just feel like he has the same sort of vibe as some of those characters, like 2 tones to the hair color. Sort of like a simplified looking face structure.
Okay.
So.
He almost dressed like the professor from the game.
Oh, okay.
The boy professor.
Yeah, I played
Daddy
Scarlet,
Professor.
so I had Mommy Professor. Professor Mommy.
Kind of dressed like Daddy Professor. Anyways. There's security guard.
Yep, he got demoted to security guard. Even that guy gets like a little bit of redemption.
Yeah.
He's still like sort of the biggest asshole of the minor villains that get redemption, but even then, like, I don't know, his Mecha Ude was still willing to work with him. Which we could talk about the Mecha Udes for a little bit, because I've got a gripe about them.
Okay.
So a lot of the Mecha Udes we see by the bad guys, not all of them, but a lot of them are.
Aside from Alma and the 2, I have their names. Where are they? Dex
and Sinus.
Yeah.
They can all like transform into things. And a lot of them are transforming into things, I think partially because they have the restraints to allow them to take away their own will and control them for evil ends. Because we learn like, oh yeah, security guards things, like, you always summon me as a sword, but I'm better as a fist.
Yeah.
So it's just like, okay, so they can just sort of like control the transformation that they have. But we don't really see Fist or Alma really transform into anything other than Big Fist.
Okay.
They get... I forgive theirs because they sort of like give him a jetpack too, and it's like, okay, you've got your transformation. You're really good at punching, and you are, you got the jetpack and stuff like that. You're sure. I'll buy that that's your transformation. But Sinus and Dex don't really have a transformation.
No, they don't.
And I thought it might have been like a thing. It's like, oh, maybe Aki is limited in being able to transform them because that would take so much Arbitrium that she has to use to have two of them.
Yeah.
I thought maybe that would be a thing.
But
And then when they split them up, when her sister comes back at the end, and they're like, okay, we're back to having Sinus and Dex on two different people. I thought maybe then we get a transformation. And we sort of do, because they sort of just do a cool kick combined thing. But that's about it. And it's like, oh, we never really got to see what their special power was, other than that, there's two of them. So I feel like Aki's powers could have been developed a little bit more too. Okay. I'll also be honest, I wish there was some sort of official canonization of their feelings, because I'm a sucker for that stuff. It's more just that they admit that they're friends at the end of it instead of being bodyguards.
See, I like that they didn't do that. They didn't need it in this show.
No, they should have she should have kissed him on the cheek at the very end.
Nah.
And that would have been that.
So
I am also identifying as that one classmate.
Yeah, you're Miru.
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah.
She's just like, oh yeah, these two, they want to fuck. Let's make it happen. And I want to watch. And I'm very yeah, she's me. I want these two characters to kiss, and I want to be there watching it. I get it.
Yeah, I didn't need that. I was fine with that.
I feel like June's conversion was earned. So, early antagonist.
That's kind of a trope too, though, right? Kind of.
Yeah.
Like a younger, not, I guess, bratty kind of character loses and then kind of reluctantly joins in the face of trying to get revenge, but becomes friends.
Yeah. I feel it's a trope. I just feel like they executed it fine. Okay. When they were his older brother, who's been mean to him this whole time, was actually being controlled by the bad guy. I feel okay, I guess we just want this guy to not be a bad guy anymore. Okay, he was doing it all along. Gotcha.
He had a plan. He had a plan, but then he got control of that.
Yeah, he had to set all his pieces into motion before getting controlled. So,
he was being helped by Toto.
Yes, and Toto definitely had the vibe of Ben. I don't know if that's getting picked up on the mic.
Okay,
you're just doing the beginning to Africa.
Yeah, by Toto.
Wait, that's by Toto? I thought it was by Weezer.
No. Well, yes,
but also no.
But also no. You're saying about Toto?
Oh yeah, I feel like he always had a vibe of okay, this guy's on the level. He's not necessarily a bad guy. He's just playing coy. He's the bad guy who's playing mysterious. And it's okay, that guy's not a bad guy then.
Again, there's really no bad guy except for Fist.
Well,
and
Amaryllis.
Yeah.
But she's not the main bad guy.
Yeah. Let's see. We had Yokuma, Meru, Fubiki was the sister. I think we kind of mentioned all the names.
Yeah.
June had a artificial mecha.
Yeah, because he's got a bad disease, but this one would let him, I don't know, have more Arbitrium so he can survive longer.
Yeah.
Keep him healthy. That's the thing.
Now I'm thinking about the show. Maybe they should have gone more into what Arbitrium is.
It's fine. Who cares?
It's energy.
It's willpower
that humans have.
Yeah, and they measured the main character, and he's got nowhere near enough. But except he really does have a lot, and so it just kind of feels like it's confidence.
Yeah.
They try to do a recurring theme that it's very much about choosing to take that step. Every time he chooses okay, I'm going to go back and help, then then he gets a power up or whatever. but I feel like it's not necessarily quite explained, which is fine. We get the scene at the very end where he gets up and lets the woman with the baby sit on his seat in the train, which is something he failed to do
When she was pregnant.
Which, watching it this time, I was kind of spacing out. Because we watched the first 3 episodes a while ago.
Yeah.
And we just watched all of it, including those first 3 episodes, yesterday. To get this record done in time. Mm-hmm. But they are... What's the word I'm looking for here? I feel like he didn't give up his seat because he saw people from school and he didn't want to talk to them. That's why he didn't give up his seat. Because he was scared of getting seen by those people at school. But then those people at school were cool with him, so I don't know what his deal was.
Are they the same ones or are they different ones?
I don't remember.
Okay.
Anyway, they throw that theme in there, and it feels like at times they come back to that, and it feels like at times that part doesn't matter. He kind of quickly gains control over his form, which I guess I'm glad that they're not wasting time with okay, we're always going to pull the Deus Ex Machina card, and he's going to pull it out at the very end. I guess, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. Could have been done a little bit better, I suppose.
It could have been worse, though.
Yes, well, very much so. Could have been worse.
He could have been incompetent with it, but no, it's just when he needs it, he can unlock the power he needs to use it.
Yeah. A part of me is a little mad that they made June's brother back into a good guy so quickly, because I wrote down notes of something I wanted to talk about, because he's always calling his brother, when he's controlled by Amaryllis, he's calling his brother a failure and a disappointment to the family because he always fails. And I'm bro, failure is not a bad thing per se. You learn from failure.
Yeah.
And I wrote down one of my favorite quotes about failure.
Go ahead.
And I quote, "Dude, sucking at something is the first step towards being sort of good at something."
Is that an original quote?
That is from Jake the Dog.
Jake the Dog, okay.
Which is just yeah, okay, all right. You're right. It's fine if you fail because that means, so long as you learn from that failure. I guess it doesn't mean that you're learning because people fail and don't learn from it all the time. But you learn from that failure, then you do better next time. And I'd rather have a system that has failed several times and started succeeding versus one that has never failed. Because, hey, that one that's never failed, you just haven't found the kink yet. We found the kinks in this one. We failed 500 times. And this light bulb was still horny for butt stuff. So now we don't have any more kinks in it. Sorry. You were looking at me because I kept saying the word kink.
Yeah, you're oh, you mean the other kink.
I couldn't think of a kink other than butt stuff off the top of my head. I don't know if that's really a kink so much anymore. I guess maybe, sort of.
It was definitely a kink for Troy.
Okay.
He treated that as a kink.
It just seems kind of tame. I don't know.
That's true.
I guess I've never tried it.
Foot stuff? I don't know.
I mean, even that seems tame. If you're just oh, that guy's into feet.
But not everybody's into it. So
No. Yeah, it's just when you hear about
it's just a tame one.
Yeah, it's a tame one. That's the thing. It's still a kink, but it's a tame. It's okay, you're into feet. I guess I can live with that. Where it's oh, you want to wear diapers and poop in the diaper and get it changed by somebody and then not have sex but suck on the titties.
All right.
I don't know if I quite get that one.
You don't quite get?
I'm almost getting it. I think it's the pooping in the diaper thing. That I'm just why would you want to poop in your pants? I don't understand.
Yeah, peeing your pants is cool. Pooping is not.
Correct. And if peeing your pants is cool, consider me Miles Davis. It's a Happy Gilmore quote there. Okay.
I think people got that.
Ben, you'd be surprised. I don't know how many people have seen Happy Gilmore.
That's true.
They probably just know Adam Sandler is the guy from Pixels and Uncut Gems.
Okay, is there anything else?
And they probably think he's the love guru too, but that's Mike Myers.
That's Mike Myers. He's the Zohan.
Yeah, they don't know him as the Zohan.
What? That movie is popular, right?
I liked that movie.
It has
I
John
don't think it
Turturro
was.
in it.
I don't think it was popular.
I've only watched it once. I should maybe watch it again.
I think I've seen it twice.
That holds up.
I might have seen it a couple times. It was one of those movies that was on Stars.
I think
when
I watched
was in
that. I'm
high
like,
school.
people say this is bad. This is like okay.
We had the Stars channel sometimes when I
Mhm.
was in high school, middle school, and I think You Don't Mess with the Zohan was one of the ones in there. So I think I've seen it a couple times just because it was on there. Anyway, I got my quotes out. Did you have anything else you wanted to say about the show?
No, I don't think so.
I would definitely recommend people watch this one, support it. It started as a Kickstarter,
Yeah.
which I mentioned in our season preview when we watched the first 3 episodes. So I'm glad to see that it's got legs instead of arms. It's got legs to stand on now. So maybe we'll get some more stuff. I think the show ended in such a way that like I wouldn't want another season.
Yeah.
It would be a very if
kinda
they did, it would have to be a very
teased it a little
different.
bit, but
Well, it's more just like, hey, look, life's full of adventures, and we're moving on to the next one, and we can just close the book there, and that's fine.
Mhm.
But if you wanted to do an adventure where Alma is on his own in his foreign world
Nah,
with a bunch of arms,
No.
I don't think you could quite work that one out to be as a satisfying show.
What about Mecha Ude, mechanical legs?
I feel like we'd have to get rid of the Ude. I feel like Ude ties into the arm somehow. I don't know
Okay.
Japanese,
I
but
don't either.
I feel like they'd have to call it mecha something else. Mechanical legs. But yeah, I mean, they basically throw that stuff at the end to be like, hey, these guys can still have cool robot fights because there's still bad guys working around, but that's okay. It's just Amaryllis, who we all hate. and a bunch of scumbags, and not the characters that we like. Because that was the other thing. I'm like, I kind of like Twos and Oner, and
Wonder was a bit of a...
Oner was. I said kind of for him. I definitely like Twos. I kind of liked Security Guard guy.
Did you like Doc Glasses?
Doc Glasses was okay.
Yeah,
I like that he got to have a moment where he's like, now I've got a Mecha Ude. I can fight. Whew, I'm tuckered out.
I liked his doppelganger.
Yeah. It's like, he's like, you're just me. What's going on here? Those guys just showed it. There's like 3 characters on the Kamigami or whatever the hell that corporation Kagami group just show up at the end. It's like, hey, we're also 3 characters with unique designs. We're going to have nothing to do.
Yeah, that was weird.
Just like, look at
They're
us.
like, oh, okay, they're going to have like a big part in this. No.
Not really. The one guy that looks like Doc Glasses just kind of does some of Doc Glasses' stuff, and that's about it.
Mm-hmm.
I thought Section Chief would be a bigger thing too. He got to shine once. That's the old guy.
Okay.
Yeah. I thought he would be a bigger
Well, like he shined in his first appearance where he's just like,
I can go home now,
I
right?
can go home now, right? It's like past.
It's
work
like
time.
it's like 2 p.m. I can go home,
It's like
right?
5 o'clock. It's shift's over, right?
We've done enough work today. Sir, it's 11. We've done enough work today.
I'm too old for this.
But yeah, I would give this one a watch.
Yeah.
Round up to a 7. I think I would give it like a 6.7 or a 6.8. Just because 7 feels a little... Then it stuck the landing, probably a 7.
Yeah.
But we'll round up for the rule of cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so if you like the show, go ahead and tell other people about it if you want, or don't. Keep us all to yourselves.
We're not your parents.
We are on YouTube's Anime Territory, and we are, we're pretty much on most podcast platforms as Anime Territory. Send me a message on Twitter at anime_territory, and I'll mail you a sticker or comment something on the YouTube video, and eventually I'll see it. Just like eventually I'll see Twitter. I really don't check it that often, but I will mail you a sticker if you do that. And you are now leaving the Anime Territory.
Goodbye.